Welcome to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. It is Thursday, November the 6th. We are churning our way through the week. Hard to believe we're already almost done with the first week of November, Kathleen. It has, we're going to blink and it's going to be Thanksgiving already.
I know. I'm glad the week's kind of going by fast, but not so much the month. I'm not quite prepared for the holidays yet. So
You're not ready to start decking the halls and getting ready for all those festivities?
Maybe after Thanksgiving. That's usually when my holiday spirit kicks in.
Mm-hmm. You're not traveling for Thanksgiving, are you?
Well, I'm going to my mom's, so that's a couple of hours away. So
Okay.
Driving, not flying.
I was going to say, we're going to be talking about that today.
No.
It might be a bad time to be flying in the United States for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
So we'll chat about that coming up. Anyway, David Nazario has our weather. I know I woke up this morning and it was really cold. I keep being told that another cold front's coming. So I'm anticipating this. I'm looking forward to it. I've already got my quarter zip on. I'm rocking the Citronaut one more time because this is Space U week out at the university. Go Citronauts. We'll have all that. All right. Here's David with the weather.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks once again for joining us for News 6 Extra. Meteorologist David Nazario with a look at the big picture weather pattern and what's going to be happening here locally, not only for the day today, through the rest of our week ahead, and then into next week as we approach the Veterans Day holiday. Let's get you over to the water vapor satellite. We've got a lot of breakdown here. First and foremost, working left to right, you can see that massive dome of blue shades just blanketing the Pac Northwest, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, extending down through the Four Corners states, moving out of the front range of the Rockies into the Great Plains. That's our storm system that's going to pack quite a punch and dump our temperatures into the upper 30s, low 40s early next week. Then, if we transition down towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, look what we have going on down there in the Gulf. Now, I promise you, that's not tropical. We just got a little bit of flaring up of energy and moisture right over the central Gulf. That's going to send some extra cloud cover and possible rains into our neck of the woods as we go through the day today, tomorrow, and a little bit of that may linger for our Saturday, albeit some dry air from up north is expected to build back in. So when you look at the radar imagery right now, you take a look outside and it's pretty quiet for the time being. I do think as we go through the day today, get past the warmest part of this afternoon, we're going to start to see some rains creeping in for our southernmost counties, Polk, Osceola, Brevard, maybe trying to get up into Lake Sumter and Orange County, but I don't think we'll see too much outside of that, keeping rain chances anywhere between 10 to 20% for most of us through the day today. Current temperatures outside still staying fairly mild, albeit that warming trend continues for a lot of us. If you notice, despite the fact that we are ahead of the system, we are just a touch cooler thanks to that additional moisture and cloud cover building in overhead. Rest assured, we are definitely going to see some warming trends spiking up into the mid to upper 80s for a lot of us, especially through your Friday and into Saturday and Sunday, ahead of the front that's going to be coming across the United States, headed towards Florida for early next week. When you take a look at the forecast highs, it's all thanks to that incoming weak system in the Gulf, providing us with a little bit of additional shade. Some extra cloud cover to stop the sun from actually heating up the surface like we've seen the last couple of days, but the humidity is going to continue to maximize as we go through your Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. So looking at your planner for the day today, it does seem like evening showers are in the forecast. I've been looking at our models. They've been slowly but surely starting to uptrend a little bit, showing a bit more rainfall out there, so erring on that 20% side. Not all of us will see some rain, and it's not going to be a washout by any means at all, and we should see minimal to almost no impacts in your travel times as you're walking, getting home from school, working your way back home from the office, or running errands this afternoon and this Thursday afternoon. And I want to show you what that looks like now as well. When we switch over to our Barron model, notice the southern counties do continue to see the showers and storms as we go through Friday, a little bit of an increase in that coverage as we go through Friday, thanks to that system wandering over us, a little bit of a sea breeze collision going on Saturday, and then here comes the front. You can see it up there, top left portion of your screen, trying to work into the Gainesville, Alachua County area late Saturday and through Sunday. So while we are expecting the temperatures to pretty much fall off at that point. When you take a look at what the forecasted temps are over the next 5 days, it will take a second to catch up. With these stronger frontal systems, the front, like the name implies, the leading edge of that cold air mass will rock through. And then there's a bit of a lag, kind of like rebooting your router or modem at home. For your internet to come back on, there's a bit of a lag for that cold air mass to truly catch back up. But regardless, in terms of our feels like temperatures out there for Monday and especially Tuesday, we've changed very little in your forecast for next week, especially Veterans Day. I want to give a big shout out to our veterans out there, all of our fellow service members, especially those I've come to meet throughout my time in the United States Air Force and the United States Navy. If you're watching, and those of you who I may just be meeting for the first time on camera here, it's great to meet you digitally. Hope I can shake your hand in the near distant future, and thank you for your service, especially from a fellow service member myself. Looking at your wind forecast, we have dialed up the winds a little bit in wake of that cold front early next week. The pressure's changing behind the front. That gradient, as it's called, will really drive up our surface winds, and that's what's going to keep those feels like temperatures fairly nippy, especially before the sun comes up or as we see sunrise around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Temperature trend shows a complete falling off. In fact, if you look at Tuesday, it is so cool that the actual algorithm here predicting the margin of error between our temperatures doesn't even quite capture it. But rest assured, it's not like we're going to be freezing here in Central Florida. And then notice Wednesday into Thursday and towards next weekend, we're actually going to rebound pretty quickly in traditional Florida fashion. Once again, still in the hurricane season. No tropical activity is expected for the next 7 days, and I think we may be able to ride out the rest of the season with that caption put on the screen there. And just a reminder, it does end on the 30th of this month, so we are in the final countdown. It is almost over. Closing you out with your 7-day forecast, I'll take us full screen, get my face out of the way. You can see the slight chance for rain as we go through today all the way out to your Sunday, and then those crystal clear conditions and colder temperatures return with a bit of vengeance here in Central Florida, at least for a little while.
All right, you see that? A little forecast coming at you there. A little warm up, a little cool down, a little bit of everything for everyone, except for a functioning government. I got you with that one. All right, listen, we are now into the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. We've had federal workers, some furloughed, sent home. They're not getting paid. Others, especially at our airports, told to report in for work, and you're still not going to get paid, but we need you to come in. This starts to be a problem because a lot of them, while they're required to be there, they still have sick days they can take, and many of them will take those sick days to go either work other jobs or, just as a protest for, I don't have to do this, And as this is dragging on and we don't really see an end in sight, one of the moderate Democrats in the Senate, Senator Peters, said this morning that, until the House returns to session, and by the way, the House has been out of session since mid-September, until the House returns to session and negotiates, like there's not a path forward. And this is snowballing. And it's snowballing very quickly. CBS's Natalie Brand is going to have a story for us here coming up about, what exactly this is meaning, because the FAA has now announced that at the 40 busiest airports in the United States, they're going to have to do like a throttling down. They're going to have to reduce some of the volume of flights going in and out. And as you may suspect, Orlando is one of those 40 airports, as is Tampa, as is Dallas, Fort Worth. And this is going to start to impact not just air travel, but air cargo and everything else that is happening domestically here in the United States. And again, we're only a couple of weeks away from Thanksgiving, and this shutdown does not look like it's coming to an end. Here's Natalie's report.
Travelers at airports nationwide are bracing for cancellations a day after the FAA announced it will take the unprecedented step of cutting 10% of flights at 40 high-volume airports.
As far as like the cancellations and stuff, I just hope I make it home.
As a traveler, it's very inconvenient for me, but I mean, if you're not paying people right, I completely understand. If I'm not getting paid right for my services, I wouldn't work either.
The nation's busiest travel hubs are among those expected to be impacted, including Atlanta, Chicago, Denver, Dallas, Los Angeles, and New York. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy calls the cuts necessary to reduce stress on air traffic controllers who have been working without pay since last month.
Some of them are not coming to work. It's a problem. I want them to come to work and do their jobs, but that's the reality that I deal with. And so you've seen a lot of delays and cancellations through the airspace. Taking 10% of the flights out will reduce that pressure.
President Trump is calling on Senate Republicans to get rid of the filibuster in order to end the shutdown. That would allow the Senate to pass legislation with just a simple majority.
It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation.
Senate Republican leaders have opposed that move. Rank and file members are divided on the issue as the shutdown impacts grow.
Right now, let's put people back to work and let's start feeding people who are literally going hungry.
Earlier this week, some lawmakers expressed optimism about a deal starting to emerge that would fund the government in exchange for a vote on extending the enhanced health care tax credits Democrats have demanded. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And if you're wondering, here in Florida, Tampa, as well as Miami, as well as Orlando International, all on the list of the 40 airports that will see a 10% reduction. We have a full copy of that list over on clickorlando.com. And again, the shutdown drags on, and we will see what happens. You heard mentioned in there, I think it was Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, mentioning that people are going hungry. SNAP benefits, WIC, these kinds of things. The courts have ordered the federal government to use an emergency fund to partially fund these, but once that emergency fund's gone, there isn't going to be any more money. And the emergency fund also won't cover a full month of SNAP benefits. So this is going to continue to get worse the longer it goes on. Anyway, the race to be Florida's next governor. Florida, obviously, with term limits for the governor. Governor can only serve 2 terms in office. And, of course, Ron DeSantis was elected. He defeated Andrew Gillum, served 4 years, ran again, defeated Charlie Crist. He is now running up against term limits. So it's a wide open field for the race for governor. And while the excitement has been on the Republican side, because Florida obviously has not elected a Democratic governor since Walken, Lawton, Childs in the late 90s, well, that field is getting crowded, we've got a couple people in there, from former Speaker Paul Renner to Byron Donalds, the congressman from the Naples area. There's obviously, rumors that maybe First Lady Casey DeSantis will jump in. Maybe, we might even see, I don't know who else could come into that side. Jay Collins, our current lieutenant governor. A lot of speculation there. The Democratic side, we have obviously David Jolly, the former Republican turned independent turned Democrat, who announced earlier this summer that he was going to run. In fact, our own Lisa Bell sat down and spoke to him this week about the state of that race. But now another Democrat looks to be getting in. We reported earlier this week that Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, former sheriff of Orange County Jerry Demings, had filed paperwork to run for governor. And of course, now we know that as of this morning, it's been announced, and he will have a rally coming up in just a little bit to formally announce that he will be running for governor. Stephanie Rodriguez has the story.
While Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings is known here in Central Florida, he now has to convince the entire state he's the right person for the job. And if he can do that, he'd be the first Democratic governor Florida has seen in the 21st century.
Do you think he has the name recognition to do it? I mean, we know who he is here in Orange County.
Yeah, it's a difficult uphill battle for Demings.
UCF political science professor John Hanley thinks getting Jerry Demings to Tallahassee won't be easy, despite his credentials as the former Orange County sheriff, county director of public safety, and his 2 terms as mayor.
He's kind of in the wrong party in the wrong state. I think in another state, in a different political landscape, he would be someone who would be, top contender and would probably already hold statewide office. But in Florida, it's just become so difficult for someone with that D next to their name to make it very far.
Demings joins ex-GOP Congressman David Jolly on the Democratic ticket. We spoke to Jolly in June about running as a Democrat.
My job is to convince this coalition to vote maybe differently than you have reflexively done in the past.
Running on the Republican side are former Florida House Speaker Paul Renner and Trump-backed U.S. Rep Byron Donalds. Current Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins is considering joining in. Despite the wins for Democrats across the U.S. this week, Hanley believes the party likely won't focus its efforts here.
The state has shifted in a way that makes other states more competitive and more desirable for the Democrats relative to Florida.
Another point Hanley made is that Demings' wife, Val Demings, struggled in her campaign against Marco Rubio for U.S. Senate back in 2022. And it's a story he says could repeat itself with the mayor. That rally is happening tonight here at the Rosen Center on I Drive. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie and Dr. Hanley make a very good point. Florida is a very expensive state to run a political campaign. And obviously, the size of the state, the geography of the state makes it very difficult. We're surrounded by water on three sides. And you're also dealing with two time zones, a lot of very, very big media markets for when you have to do those ad buys digitally and, of course, terrestrial. And, again, if the Democrats have limited resources, and all political parties, as much money as they do have limited resources, you spend your money where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So that will be interesting to see if Democrats decide to play big and spend big in Florida. They may feel a little bit emboldened after what we saw Tuesday night with, very large lopsided wins in New Jersey and in Virginia. In fact, I think every county in Virginia shifted to the Democrats by a margin, which has not happened before. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. But then again, if the Democrats are looking at this and saying, well, our biggest goal is to retake the U.S. House and maybe cut into the GOP lead or get to break even in the U.S. Senate, not a particularly favorable Senate map for the Democrats this time around, then maybe spend your money elsewhere. Wait and see. We will wait and see. We have a year to pontificate and think about all these things. All right, stay with us. When we come up, Mike DeForest with a sneaky little story about a possible, don't call it a slot machine, but we'll discuss that, as well as a food drive for our food drive coming up, and then a possible lion on the loose. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. If you've downloaded the Hard Rock Sports Betting app, you may have noticed that there's a new feature there. Florida, because of our unique situation with gambling. First of all, Floridians passed a constitutional amendment that basically said no expansion of gambling unless you go to the voters, with a carve out for the Seminole tribe, which already had some casinos operating in parts of Florida. So that was passed. That's on our state constitution, kind of a limiting principle, if you will. Well, the Hard Rock app, which is run by the Seminole tribe, is a product of the Seminole tribe renegotiating its compact with the state of Florida, agreeing to send more money to the state of Florida in exchange for some changes to table games and some other things and some expansions here and there. All well and good. Most of Indian casinos is governed by what's known as IGRA, federal law dealing with the Indian Gaming Act. So that's all one thing. Now, the new compact has some very interesting language written into it, and what it could and could not allow, and what sports betting could and could not allow, and what the mobile sports betting app could do and could not do. Because clearly, if you go to a casino in person, you can play slot machines and all these other things. But on the app, all you can do is bet on sports. But Mike DeForest found you can do something else on the app, and it's prominent on there, and it's technically sports. Here's his report.
For the past few years, Floridians have been allowed to legally bet on sports like basketball and football using the mobile app Hard Rock Bet. Now, a new feature on the app is being rolled out. It looks like a slot machine. It sounds like a slot machine. Players push a button to spin reels like a slot machine. Money is quickly won or lost like a slot machine. But technically, it's not a slot machine. Instead of betting on what symbols randomly appear, players are actually betting on NASCAR races. That's right, NASCAR races, but not future races. Instead, players bet on NASCAR races that happened in the past, sometimes years ago. Confused? I'll try to explain. Players have the option of spinning the wheels or clicking this small button in the corner to enter the race view. Here, players bet on the order of the top 4 finishers of a completed NASCAR race. In other words, who came in first, second, third, and fourth place. The dates of the race and the drivers' names are not disclosed. The drivers are simply labeled A, B, C, and D. The app does provide some statistics about the drivers, like their average finish position or their average start position. Players can then manually choose when they think drivers A, B, C, and D cross the finish line. Or, to make it much, much easier, players can simply select an automatic quick pick. That's done by pushing the button and spinning the reels. The slot machine animation lets players know whether they won their bets on the NASCAR race, and if so, how much. Later, the app reveals the specific race, such as the Coca-Cola 600 in May 2022, the names of the drivers, and the order they crossed the finish line.
Sports betting really is going on already. Why don't we come together, put some structure to this?
4 years ago, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a compact with the Seminole tribe that authorized online sports betting. The agreement does not allow other online casino games like slots. The compact defines sports betting as wagering on any past or future professional sport or athletic event or any motor vehicle race. Notice the word past. The Seminole tribe believes that part of the compact allows betting on completed NASCAR races with the results displayed on what it calls entertaining video depictions. Governor DeSantis has not responded to my questions about this new sports betting game, so we do not know whether he believes it is authorized by that gaming compact. Mike DeForest, News 6.
Mike with a fantastic report there. There is more to be done with this as this continues to roll. And I think it was either Justice Alito or Justice Thomas that said Congress doesn't hide elephants in mouse holes. It seems as if in this compact we may have found a bit of an elephant hiding in a mouse hole. I mentioned early on in the program, obviously with the government shutdown and WIC and SNAP benefits either partially being paid or not being paid at all and eventually will run out, the need to feed our families, the need to take care of one another is only growing. And one by one, you're seeing Central Florida communities and people step up to try and do their part. And one of the areas that's doing it today and on through the weekend is in Volusia County, where they're having a couple different events to ensure that those who are struggling right now, inflation's still high, prices are still high, and now we have a lot of people either not getting paid or out of work, are able to feed their families. Angie Casada has the story.
Week over week, we're seeing a 300% increase in families seeking assistance. I was speaking with pantries yesterday about what they're seeing, and their appointments are booked up beyond what they've ever seen.
To keep up, Volusia County is investing $250,000 in federal disaster recovery funds to boost food access countywide. $125,000 is supporting large distribution events with Second Harvest, including Thursday's giveaway in Daytona Beach. The other 125,000 is stocking local food pantries and churches so families can get help closer to home.
Well, I think with, not just the county, but municipalities, everybody, the general community, everybody's trying to come together, do what we can to, address food insecurity.
Thursday's drive-through distribution runs from noon to 3 at Hope Place on Wright Street. It's open to Volusia County residents. No income requirements, just bring a county ID.
This is Angie Casada reporting. All right, we go from doing from food drives. And of course, if you go to clickorlando.com, you can find a full list of places around the area that are providing food assistance for those in need, especially at this tough time. Okay, Kathleen, we are going to wrap all of this up with a story from the Emerald Isle. A story of a lion on the loose. Okay, let's take a look at this. There were reports all over the area of a possible lion being spotted, and it turned out it wasn't a lion. That's a Newfie. It's a Newfie, a Newfoundland dog. Oh, they're adorable. Very interesting pattern for shaving the dog there, but the owner shaved it like that. The dog's name is Mouse. So Mouse, the Newfie, got mistaken for a lion and was subsequently reunited with his owner after everybody in Ireland, well, in this one particular area, decided that they were seeing a lion on the loose. That is adorable. Newfies are. Have you ever had? You have a small dog, but I mean, have you ever been around a Newfie before?
No, I don't believe I have.
They're slobber monsters. They are just big pushovers. Sweet dogs, very sweet dogs.
Very sweet dog. I think somebody maybe just overreacted seeing this lion, because I would imagine even a small lion would be bigger than that.
Yeah.
But maybe if you look quick, and I mean, the haircut does resemble a lion, so maybe if you saw it in the distance and looked quickly, maybe. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you would assume you're in Ireland. Okay, lions. I don't want to talk out of school here, but lions are not native to Ireland. So if there was a lion on the loose, it's escaped from a zoo, and you would assume there would be an alert out there. The zoo would be trying to track said lion. These are all very good questions that should have been fielded long beforehand. But that.
But I mean, I could see maybe the mix-up, but maybe the owners should rethink the haircut.
I love the haircut. I love it. I think your point is exactly right. It's too small to be a lion. Come on, relax, people. Great.
True.
Mouse has himself a great haircut. I like it. I approve of that top to bottom. You remember it might have been 7-8 years ago, there was that king cobra that got out.
Yes.
And there was this great snake hunt across central Florida to find the king cobra.
Yes.
And they found it like a week later, and it was just under a shed, like maybe a block away.
Yes. And wasn't there one that was found like behind a dryer or somebody's dryer, some kind of snake that was on the loose? I don't know if it was the king cobra one, but it was found behind somebody's dryer. And I always think about that when I'm doing laundry.
I brought up, and this is the problem I have. I brought up when that snake was missing. I said, listen, it's a venomous snake, but it is as venomous as the eastern diamondback, which is native to Florida. Why are we all freaking out about a king cobra? And a coworker of mine was like, the king cobra is a snake of nightmares. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
I think all snakes are snakes of nightmares, at least for me.
I mean, I wouldn't want like a venomous one like roaming the newsroom, but we had a small little garter snake a couple of months back.
We did.
No, they're harmless. They're an important part of our ecosystem.
They can be harmless and part of our ecosystem somewhere else, like away from me.
You're not part of my ecosystem, snake.
Exactly.
Sound like Snake Plissken from the Escape from Los Angeles movies, Snake is also from the Metal Gear Solid franchise. I don't know. I'm drifting here, moving in and out. It's fine.
It's fine.
Anyway, so all right, good show, Kathleen. I don't know that I stuck the landing on this thing, but we'll see. We'll see. The French judge may only give me half for I had the triple sow cow, and then I came into the the LUTs, and I just didn't land on my edge. So we'll do better the next time.
No, I think it was great. You did great.
All right, Kathy, thank you so much for putting this together. We'll do it again tomorrow. Thank you, of course, to David Nazario for the fantastic weather. And thank you for watching. We'll be back here tomorrow at 12:30 to do this all over again. Of course, we break news all the time on clickorlando.com, and we'll be on the air today with the very latest on the changes to the flight schedules at Orlando International Airport, starting at 4 o'clock for News 6. So until then, I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a fantastic Thursday. Bye.